this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use and cut the brand new JND481 sweeping bows. These are based on a beautiful pine branch. So if I bring one of the die cuts in, which is always the better way to see it, you can see here you've got this beautiful sweep of pine. But what you've actually got is a left and a right in 4 different sizes. So if I bring the dies in, you can see you've got a left and right, and they would actually make really beautiful sort of angel wings as well. And these will work as foliage all the year round. Use them inside with some of your summer flowers to give you sort of like a tropical vibe as well. But because they are very detailed, there's a lot of lines and they're very close, you do need to pay a little bit of particular attention when you're actually cutting these. So I'm going to move these away to one side, and I want to show you how I feel is the optimum way to cut these. So I'm going to take a piece of card, and this is our Craft Artist Essential card in Christmas green. And all I'm going to do is to place the dies on, but I'm making sure that they're all going in a forward direction. So they're not going across the card, they're going forward, so they get the longest time possible to cut. And I'm also making sure that there's plenty of spacing between them, so they've not spaced so that they're touching. Now, it's very important when you're using separate dies like this that they are well taped down, because this is where you will spoil your dies. Because what will happen is if these move and cross in your machine, it will ruin them, it will cut the lines. So with the Craft Artist tape, don't be afraid of really burnishing onto the card. I know that this is against what we normally do, but the normal sort of clear tape that we use is a lot stickier and it would rip the card. This won't rip the card. So once I'm happy that they're nice and secure, the next thing I will do is to use a metal shim. And normally for detailed dies, you would use a metal shim on top. But because these are very, very fine, I'm using it underneath to cut into. So I will do that. I will then take my normal plate combination that I would use. So I would use my standard plate combination here, and this is for my Go Power. And I have here, I've got my sort of shim and metal shim underneath. I've got my card and my paper. I've got my plate. I'm putting a metal shim on top and the B plate, because my machine is particularly old and used now. And I'm simply going to run that through. So that is running through the machine. So that has now run through my machine. And what I'm going to do is just lift it up, turn it over, and make sure I can see that silver and that every piece is cut. If I'm not happy and I'm not sure that it's cut, then I would put it back through. I would rotate the die round and I would run it through a second time. It's always safer to do that. Again, if you're cutting these as individual pieces, so if I'm actually cutting them as individual pieces to do, then I wouldn't worry as much. But because I'm trying to cut all 8 dies at the same time, then that will work. I'm just going to bring in some of the pieces here so that you can actually see, while that's running through, the sizes that we have. So you see, you've got beautiful 8 pieces. So this has now gone through my machine. I can turn it over. I'm happy. I'm seeing silver reflected, which means that dies have cut through. I can simply then just remove my dies, place them back on my magnetic sheet. And as you can see, even though I burnished the tape, it hasn't ripped the card at all. And all I do to ease them out is push from behind, push one side and then the next. And that way I will get every single piece of this out really simply and easily. So you may feel like it's stuck in place. It isn't. You've just got to push and ease each one out. But this way I've got all 8 pieces out in one pass. Nice and simple. So we'll just take this last one out. There we go. So this one was right in the center. This is the hardest one. So I'm just having to pull it away from each side and pull it off and pull that piece off, pull all of the pieces out, but we still get our beautiful piece. So we have all of our 8 pieces now. So I wanted to show you something a little bit different we can do with those, and we'll add them to a card. I'm not going to make the whole card, as that way would make the video too long, and there's already quite a lot of Christmas videos on there. So what I thought is these look beautiful if they've been touched with a little bit of ice or snow or a little bit of glitter. So I'm going to use my Craft Artist glue glaze, and this is genuinely the only glue I would recommend for doing this for speed. You can use others, but it won't be anywhere near as neat. So what I'm going to do is take my glue glaze, pick up my sweeping bough, and I'm just going to stroke the wand carefully over the edge. If you don't feel like you're picking up enough, you can put it down on a flat surface. You will get a lot more that way, but obviously you then start to create little gluey areas all over. And then all I need to do next is to take a really fine glitter, and I'm using the Craft Artist laser glitter in silver. I think this is absolutely beautiful. We just pop a bit down and then tip that into it, flick it off, and there you can see you've got your beautiful ice tipped sweeping boughs. So we'll do one more again just so that everybody can see. So I'm just going to run the glue. You can see why I'm using glue glaze. It's a flat, quick drying glue. That means you won't get glitter absolutely everywhere. And it does glitter absolutely perfectly, keeps it very fixed. So again, now I've got a base of glitter down on my paper, I can simply turn that over and dip my glued piece in, give it a flick, and there is my beautiful sweeping bough. So we'll pop that to one side and I'll clean that up later. And I'll just move these other pieces away so that I can, there we go. The reason I'm doing this is quite sticky and matte. So here I have a full set that I've made literally about 20 minutes ago, not a long time ago. The glitter is fixed on there, which is what I absolutely love. So here I have a card that I've made using the smaller die, not the smallest, but the smaller die in JND485, the 5x7 holly frame, sort of frame it die. And I've just put some little bit of silver behind there. And this is onto a card blank that's 7x7 with a 5 3/4 inch piece. That's just been of coconut white, that's just been embossed with the Argyle embossing folder, as I really feel that works for Christmas. It's very plain and simple, but it gives that little bit of patination. So I've wrapped a little bit of baker's twine around here, nice and simple. I'm going to put this on evenly with an even border on 3 sides and pop that down. I've then got another piece of the baker's twine that I'm going to pop underneath here, and I'm just going to tie that off in a simple knot and drag that to there, and then we'll just finish off. And normally I finish these off with a knot. So what I would do is, when I'm using baker's twine, I loop round a knot to stop them fraying. As I see, it's very happy to start fraying very quickly, and cut it off. And that way you get a little bit of interest on the end, but it stops them from fraying. So we'll just go through, there we go. The last 2 of those. Again, if you like to, you could leave this and let this actually just fray. And that can look really nice as well. But I like the organisation and the neatness. It's just a personal thing. Again, so on the last one, just tie a knot. Looks more complicated than it is, but you could replace this with ribbon or not put anything on at all, or put these on a completely different card. But that way I can slide that knot up and I have that little bit of interest there. So now I'm going to take my sweeping boughs And the reason I wanted to put them in silver, because it reflects the silver on there. So I'm just going to run glue up through the centre. And I'm taking the left and then the right of the largest one, so that we're dominating sort of the front of the card. I'm going to take one of the fatter pieces. So I'm creating a lovely sort of little corner. I can then add in. You can see you can get a really nice sort of spread or spray of foliage using these. Just like that. So there we've got our beautiful shining and shimmering and glittering sweeping boughs. And to finish this off, I've got here some of the hawthorn, and I've cut this in the tea colour just to help build that up. So a large and a small, and I've added red pearl dimension onto there for the berries. So I'm just going to pop that on, sort of in between the leaves. Because I don't want that to dominate, I can take a little bit more, or a couple more pieces of the sweeping boughs. Still won't have used a full set, to kind of cover over the brown. So we're just having those berries pop in. And then I've simply got 3 of the frost flower. So I'm using one of the large ones, and I've just put dewdrops in the centre of there. And again, you could add a little sentiment in there. Actually would work really nicely with a silver peel off. But the main focus then is on the edge of that frame. A little blow to take away any spare glitter. And there we have a beautiful card made using the Sweeping Boughs die, which is the new one from the John Next Door collection. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John Next Door and Crafts 2 group on Facebook. Enjoy.